No, 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 no.
Truly, in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, and in this case, the one-eyed man happens to be Prey, yet another entry in the long, tragic decline of a once awesome franchise. But the difference here is that Prey is a prequel, you see. A prequel about a young Native American girl who has to defy her tribal traditions in order to take on a nearly invincible hunter from another worlds. Because, you know, if elite special forces operatives, hard-boiled detectives, and entire squads of specially trained government agents can't stop these things, then a 100-pound teenage girl is definitely gonna make the difference. Anyway, for some reason, people are going absolutely nuts over this movie, hailing it as the greatest entry in the franchise since the 1987 original, which is just so cute. Anyway, the film stars Amber Midthunder as, a female character, I guess. For the life of me, I can't remember what her name is because it's almost never spoken in the film, and she's got so little in the way of personality that I genuinely struggle to tell you anything about her. The best I can say is that she's a young Comanche girl living a simple tribal life in early 18th century America. She wants to become a hunter and she practices every day, much to the disapproval of her family and friends. And so she heads out into the wilderness to track down what she thinks is a giant bear. Because I guess it's totally fine for her to just leave her tribe for days on end and not do any work. Being part of a hunter-gatherer society is just kind of an optional extra, I guess. Only to bump straight into a hunting party that was sent to look for her, so that the rest of the plot can happen. Wow, it's lucky that in all of these hundreds of square miles of territory, she just happened to run into the very people that she needed to find. So she tries to warn them about the predator, but they're having absolutely none of it because they don't want to listen to a girl. And helpfully wipes out everyone except female character. Oh no, then she gets captured by a group of evil white men who are also hunting the predator. And for some reason, the action seems to teleport into a devastated World War I battlefields. Like, what the fuck happened here? Was there a nuclear war that I missed? So I think you could probably guess what happens next. The predator shows up and murders everyone, again. And it's up to female character to put on her big girl pants and take it on, one-on-one. Although it does kind of contradict the idea that predators show up in hot environments to make the hunt more challenging. Also, I'm gonna have to take a moment here just to vent about all the pointless references to other movies that are thrown in for no reason. When I first heard that this film was set in the 1700s, I actually predicted they'd make a reference to the pistol from Predator 2. If I was a chaotic neutral, on the other hand, I'd say it was done entirely so they could finally give the backstory to this pistol from Predator 2. And then they could pat themselves on the back for respecting the lore. And sure enough, there it fucking is, inherited by the main character near the climax of the film. Wow, how clever. Except this pistol actually ends up in the hands of the predators again next time we see it, which kind of implies that once the credits are over, the predators roll into the village, kill everyone, and take the pistol with them as a trophy. I'm not sure that's the angle you were going for there. And then there's this line that comes out of absolutely nowhere.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Also, there's no getting around this film is manipulative as fuck. Like, at one point the main character encounters a group of French trappers that are also hunting the predator, and I swear this movie plays every dirty trick in the book to make you hate them. Compared to the Comanche warriors, who wear pristine clothes and look like Calvin Klein models, the Frenchmen are portrayed as filthy, disgusting, disease-ridden hobos that grunt, shuffle and cackle like retarded cavemen. Their campsite looks like a post-apocalyptic wasteland. They're depicted as cruel, sadistic and malicious, and you're all but encouraged to take pleasure in seeing them get brutally eviscerated. It's basically the inverse of all those old westerns from the 1950s that depicted Native Americans as bloodthirsty savages that needed to be brought to heel. It's the same ridiculous, stereotypical oversimplification of historical reality, but adapted for modern sensibilities. Speaking of modern sensibilities, the main character is kind of a frustrating one for me because I can see how they've worked to get her moving in the right direction, but I can also feel the constraints of modern storytelling. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's nowhere near as obnoxious and unlikable as so many other characters we've had to endure in recent years, and the movie at least takes the time to show her training and practicing to explain the skills she has, instead of just pretending that she was awesome from birth. She's definitely not a Mary Sue, that's for sure. She actually makes mistakes that almost cost her life, and learns from them to do better next time. She doesn't get showered with the kind of vomit-inducing praise that usually accompanies female characters in modern movies. She thinks and acts more like a 21st century college student than an 18th century Native American woman, determined to defy gender norms, compete with the boys, stand up to anyone who disrespects her and smash the patriarchy. And I don't know man, I find it kinda hard to believe that anyone living back then would even have those kinds of aspirations, never mind being allowed to indulge them. And damn man, talk about on-the-nose dialogue. There's even a scene where she straight up explains to the audience how awesome she is.
You think that I'm not a hunter like you, and I'm not a threat. That is what makes me dangerous.
I mean, I get that this is the general subtext of the movie, but the point of subtext is that it's supposed to remain unsaid, allowing the audience to infer meaning from what you show them instead. Having a character straight up spell out what you want them to think is pretty fucking lazy from a writing point of view. She also never really changes as a person, which is weird as fuck considering what she goes through. The only thing that's different about her by the end is external factors. Her tribe finally recognizes her as a great hunter, but she already saw herself as that right from the start. And it's all just so artificial and cheap, like the movie's somehow trying to show off by making her so much stronger and so much more resilient than her predecessors. It's all based off this simple-minded fallacy that the absence of fear or weakness is what makes a person strong. It doesn't. It's a person's ability to overcome their flaws and fears and weaknesses that makes them a stronger character, but all of that stuff relies on actually showing weaknesses in the first place, and that's not allowed now. I mean, don't get me wrong, she's nowhere near as obnoxious and unlikable as so many other characters we've had to endure in recent years, and the movie at least takes the time to show her training and practicing to explain the skills she has, instead of just pretending that she was awesome from birth. She's definitely not a Mary Sue, that's for sure. She actually makes mistakes that almost cost her life, and learns from them to do better next time. She doesn't get showered with the kind of vomit-inducing praise that usually accompanies female characters in modern movies. Ultimately, characterization gripes aside, Prey is a movie that I'd best describe as solid rather than spectacular. A competent mid-lister that hovers around the middle of the Predator franchise, neither terrible nor great. It's definitely a massive step up from the kind of garbage we normally get these days, and it has moments of real inspiration when it almost breaks through to become something special, but pretending it's on par with the original is nothing but wishful thinking. But hey, it could have been worse. A lot worse. And if recommendations mean anything to you at all, then well, I'd say it's probably worth a couple of hours of your time, provided you go in with the correct expectations. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.